Hi everybody, Fred the Pirate here, and this is a review for Green Lantern, the animated series, Season 1, Episode 26, entitled Dark Matter. So, the summary for this week's episode is the 3,600 members of the Green Lantern Corps join together in one vast army to stop Aya before she destroys every living being in the universe. So that is pretty much what happens in this week's episode. Um, Towards the beginning of it, Appa, the one of the Guardians, gives a speech to the Green Lanterns, talking about how they need to stop Aya. And then right before that happens, Hal, feeling some guilt, looks at the map of the universe and he looks at the areas that Aya has destroyed, all the star systems she's destroyed, and it turns out that a lot of the star systems she's destroyed are uninhabited, like all of them are. So she hasn't actually killed anything. Like she's destroyed star systems, but she hasn't killed any living beings. And so, with that in mind, Hal actually spends a lot of the episode again trying to talk Aya out of her plan. Um, and ultimately, he kind of ends up failing at that, but he ends up sending in Razor, and Razor ends up being successful. So they end up stopping Aya from destroying the universe. But she ends up sacrificing herself towards the end of the episode to make sure that, no version of herself um, can destroy the universe, because when she took over the Manhunters, she uploaded her program to them. So essentially, all the Manhunters became Aya's, and so she, created a virus in order to destroy any incarnation of herself to make sure that there would be no Aya's that could destroy uh, the universe. So that's pretty much what happened in this week's episode. And it was a really nice episode. I really enjoyed it. Like this seemed like this was actually, a really good series finale episode, especially because this is the end of the series. So this, I think, worked really well as a series finale because I think it wrapped up everything that, we needed to have wrapped up. We dealt with the plot. It ended in an interesting. I'm kind of glad that they got done with the whole Aya thing. I mean, she was an interesting bad guy, but honestly, I kind of wish that she would have had cooler motives for being a bad guy than what her motives actually were. I mean, I think that's kind of one of the big letdowns between her and Atrocitus, is that Atrocitus was evil, and it was understandable why he was evil. You know, like he was evil because, his entire planet was attacked by, the anti-monitors, and that they, by the manhunters, and they destroyed everything, and because they were the Green Lanterns, he blamed them. So it kind of like what he wanted to do made sense, and like, and why he was evil made sense. And it's not that it doesn't make sense why Aya kind of became evil, but it's like towards the end of this, we find out that she really wasn't evil. And, and her motives for doing it was that she was a pissed off girlfriend. And it's like if you're gonna make her evil, fine. It's just, can't you have cooler motives for that? So I'm kind of glad that that's done and over with. It's a shame that, the series was canceled, because I think that there were just so many stories that they could have told. And because, I mean, the Green Lantern, Corps has such a rich mythology, and I think that there were so many things that could have been done, and I think it would have been cool to meet other bad guys. Like, honestly, especially, it would have been cool to get to see Sinestro become a bad guy. Like, I mean, we know Sinestro's evil and we know what Sinestro does, because in this season, we only got to meet Sinestro one time and he's still a Green Lantern. So it would have been cool to see Sinestro become a bad guy, like, and to create this Sinestro Corps. Because that would have been cool. Although honestly, I think this episode definitely really worked as a series finale. Like, I'll take it. Like, it's unfortunate again that this, along with Young Justice, is being canceled because they were two really good shows, and I think more importantly, besides being good shows, that they had a lot of potential to become even better shows and even more well liked and successful shows. And I think it would have been nice to have allowed that to happen. But I think ultimately, the powers that be made the decision that they made. Um, so honestly, I don't know if this really falls on Cartoon Network for not having it renewed, or if this is like a DC. I'm pretty sure that this is like why it got canceled is because of Cartoon Network. I don't think that DC or Warner Brothers, rather. I don't think they did what Lucasfilms did, which was to do that. What Lucasfilms did with the Clone Wars series, because I know recently it was announced that had gotten canceled, but that was canceled because of Lucasfilms deciding to discontinue it so they could focus more on the Star Wars sequel films, which I guess that makes sense. But I think Young Justice and Green Lantern got canceled by Cartoon Network, um, which is not by DC. Although I think technically DC and Cartoon Network are both owned by Time Warner. So um, so that's interesting. So they canceled that. Although it was cool, like towards the end of it, where we see Razor, flying off into space to try to find Aya because he believes that she somehow might have found some way to survive. And I think towards the end of it, we see this blue power ring float towards him, which is implying that I think that Razor could become, a Blue Lantern, which that was cool. Um, it would have been cool to see something come of that. But overall, again, like, I think that this was a really good series finale. So it wrapped up, I think, everything that it needed to wrap up. And I think things really came full circle from how they started, The series started off with, Razor being really violent and antagonistic, but eventually we find out, but when it ends, Razor's actually really close with both Kilowog and Hal, and you can tell that they have a really close bond now. So that was really cool. And and it was cool seeing Aya, after she stopped being evil to, act heroically and sacrifice herself. So that was cool too. Um Again, it's a shame it got canceled. The animation for this episode was really nice. Had a lot of really nice cinematic shots, which that was also really cool. So I think you can kind of tell that there's I think the animation has definitely improved in the series since it first began, especially with, their background, environmental shots that look pretty cool. So overall, I think this was definitely a good episode. It's again a shame it got canceled because there was so much potential with this, and it would have been so nice to see them do so much with it. But I think with that said, this has been a review of Green Lantern the Animated Series Season 1, Episode 26. So I'd like to hear what you guys thought about this week's episode and about the series in general since it's ended. and hopefully, so make sure you guys comment, rate, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys again next time.